What's going on, guys? So in front of you, you were looking at something that I think almost any RVer, probably trailer owner, or even pickup truck and SUV owner will probably want to keep inside of their vehicle after watching this video. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so in front of you, you were looking at a product from a company called Power Mountain. My channel sponsor, eTrailer.com, provided this to me for review and evaluation because after I saw this, I was like, this right here would be an absolutely fantastic kind of rescue tool that I know a lot of folks would need if they have an RV, a trailer, an SUV, or a pickup truck, or even a car, because this is going to do for you what a lot of other products similar to this can't. So let's open this up. So this is called the Power Mountain TallBoy. What is it? Well, let me pull some of this stuff out so you can see what's in here. So what you were looking at in front of you is actually an off-road jack. This is specifically designed to be used in off-road scenarios where you probably have a lifted vehicle or you're on uneven terrain and you need to be able to change a tire or be able to work on some component underneath your off-road vehicle, and you need to be able to jack up your vehicle to do it. Now, right off the bat, you can probably tell why this is different than a lot of other hydraulic jacks on the market. First and foremost, let's go over some of the specs. This has a 6-ton rating, so 12,000 pound lift capacity, which I think is going to be more than enough for just about any application, regardless of the category, whether it's RVing, trailering, off-roading, trucks, or SUVs. It's going to come with 15 different accessories. Now, I know that most people are probably looking at this, and this is a really, really thick steel plate that this is mounted on because you might be on uneven terrain or you might be on caliche or rock or something that is not going to be perfectly smooth like concrete, and you want to get as much surface area as possible so you can lift up whatever you're planning on lifting up. Now, in these bags come attachments. And these attachments are going to be what you would utilize in different scenarios to be able to work on whatever you're trying to work on. So let me give you an example of this. I'll just open this whole thing up. So right here, we have some very important attachments. First of all, you're going to have a flat attachment right there. You're going to have an axle attachment right here. You have an extension right here. So this would actually go on top, and this gives you the ability to raise it up even higher with this extension so you can lift things that are at a higher level. And you all may recall that I actually made a video on a similar product to this in the past that was designed for, again, a different application, but it was to give you the same flexibility when you're dealing with RVs that sit relatively high. Over here, you have even more attachments. So check this out. So you have another extension and another extension and another extension. Then right here, looks like you have a spacer. So let's kind of put all this together. So this will be your handle that you can utilize with your jack to raise the jack up like this. Okay, so we have everything laid out on the floor now, and you can get a better idea of how all of this functions. So a lot of people are going to say, well, what is this thing for? So basically what you do here is you unscrew the top right here of the jack like this. And there's quite a bit of thread in here. And you're going to see this typically on most hydraulic jacks, and this gives you that micro adjustment so you can get it up to the height you need. Once you completely unscrew this, this essentially acts as a spacer around here, so you can put that back on like that. And now it gives you the space you need right here to be able to use the rest of these accessories. And then you have all these different adapters here. Now, let's say that you need to lift from the frame. That's why they provide this nice flat piece right here, which now slides over, and you can jack directly from a flat surface like a frame if you need to, if that's the appropriate lifting point. A lot of RVs, that might be the lifting point you need because there's a lot of frame surface area on the bottom, but you may not have a surface area for something like this. That's going to be a much smaller contact point. And then if you need to lift, say, from the axle, change a tire, something like that, or even that might be used, but you do want to be cautious though with the trailer that if you go from a flat point, you are more likely that something could slide off of it. Right here, this one's going to act as a cradle for your axle, so you can lift your axle up if you need to, again, change a tire or do some type of suspension work that requires that. And then you have a bunch of extensions here. You have this one, which is a relatively, you know, shallow extension. Looks like it's probably about 4 or 5 inches. And this is going to give you extra height if you need to be able to get up to a frame or a section that is a little higher off the ground than what this might be able to extend to. But then you have all these other extensions. Now this is kind of cool because you have the hole here, which gives you the capability of lining it up with this one and having multiple extensions. So this will slide over top. You have the included pin right here, and the pin would simply slide into place. And you have several different height options for that as well. But if you had to, in the worst of scenarios, get as high up as possible. Check that out. That is pretty crazy. And of course, we don't have the jack jacked up very high, so this right here is going to be pretty dang tall. But let's measure it. Okay, so as it is right here, we are at about, from the bottom of the cradle, about 29.5 inches in terms of height. So you can imagine there aren't going to be really almost anything that's going to be that high before you're going to make contact with it and start lifting. Most of your RVs are probably going to be between about 18 inches and about 26 inches at the highest point. Most of your axles are probably only going to be maybe about 1.5 feet off of the ground max. And this is going to give you the capability of being able to lift those if you need to. So let's get this outside real quick and let's check it out and see how well it works. Okay, so I just ran in the shop to grab a couple extensions. We are actually going to lift the back corner of this Texas Pride trailer off the ground. So this trailer, as it sits empty, weighs about as much as the Surveyor does right now. So it's about 5,000 pounds worth of weight. This trailer is a 16,000 pound maximum gross vehicle weight rating though, which means it has about 11,000 pounds worth of cargo capacity, which is pretty dang phenomenal. And you can definitely tell, I mean, it's got some huge steel on it. So this is not going to be some super lightweight challenge for this jack, and it's going to give you kind of the idea how you can use this across different platforms. If we know we can lift this, we know we can lift an RV. So what we're going to do here though is we're going to lift it from the back. The front tongue jack on this trailer can support up to 10,000 pounds. It's a hydraulic jack, so I'm not too worried about anything happening there. And we're going to see if we can get these tires off the ground, both back tires off the ground from the back corner of the trailer. So let's see what extensions we might need for this. We'll put that one on and then see if this one will also fit on. Like that. And again, this is an off-road type jack. That's why you have such a large platform here on the bottom. We should be able to get it like that. So let's go ahead and lock this up right here. Now we are on some really soft sand at the moment, so some shifting could happen. So I'm gonna be ready to jump back if I need to, but I don't think that it would ever fall far enough for me to really be concerned. If you hear that crazy creepy sound, that's actually my windmill up there making weird noises. So let's go ahead and start lifting. All right, we've just now made frame contact. Isn't taking much effort right now. We are actually starting to lift up the trailer. Again, I love the fact that it has that large steel base underneath it. Up to 6 tons worth of lift capacity. Check that out. So now we were able to lift this entire side off of the ground using this little jack. And I would not have trusted really anything else that didn't have a huge platform like that on the bottom. I've used some really strong scissor jacks in the past to try to do things that are similar, but the reality is having that large stable platform where the jack's actually mounted to it really gives it the stability you're looking for. So if I need to make any changes now, like I said, I have both tires off the ground, and this is just a really, really cool, creative way of getting your suspension off the ground if you need to work on it. Now, ideally, if we were talking about an RV and we had a flat tire, I would just use the cradle underneath that axle and lift that one axle off of the ground and change the tire out. But just to give you an idea of the strength and flexibility here, the fact is I just lifted this entire side off of the ground and it's supporting it on the jack so I can do whatever I need to do. That is very, very cool. This is something that I think a lot of people would need, and it's absolutely something that I think could come in really handy if you're ever caught in a bind and you need to be able to lift your RV up, your trailer up. Just be very, very cautious. Chalk your tires where needed. Make sure you have a good, strong foundation for the front so it's not going to rock forward or move side to side on you, and take every precaution you can take to make sure that you're as stable as possible, because what you don't want to have happen is you put yourself in a situation where something could tilt or rock or lean and you are going to possibly get hurt just because you didn't take all the steps you could possibly take to be as safe as possible. Anyways, very, very cool product. I do think that this is something, again, a lot of folks could use, and it's certainly something that I am really, really happy my channel sponsor eTrailer.com carries. I will put a link in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in, and hopefully you find it as exciting and as important as I do. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.